24-year-old German medic Anna Weber clutched poison tablets in her trembling hand. Certain American soldiers would torture her to death. Instead, they handed her warm soup, reading glasses, and 4 square meals a day. What happened instead shattered everything she knew about enemies, war, and human nature, and it's about to shatter everything you think you know too. Anna Weber was 24 years old when Allied bombs shook her aid station in 1945. Golden-haired, skilled with a scalpel, she'd saved more German lives than she could count. Now, as American voices echoed through the bunker, she prepared to die. Her commanding officer pressed glass vials into her trembling hands. "Poison tablets," he whispered. "Better death than what they'll do to you." The propaganda had been explicit, terrifying, and absolutely certain. American soldiers were monsters who took special pleasure in degrading German women. Every film, every pamphlet, every whispered story confirmed it. But here's what no one expected. When American GIs burst through that door, weapons raised. The first words weren't threats of violence. They were medical help needed. Wait, what? These supposed demons were asking a German medic to help treat wounded civilians. German civilians. Where was the savage laughter? Where were the brutal hands? Where was the hell every propaganda film had promised? Something was very wrong with everything she'd been told. What happened next defies every war story you've ever been told. The journey to the POW camp should have been a nightmare. Cattle cars, beatings, starvation. That's what captured Germans expected. That's what their own forces had used on others. Instead, Anna found herself in a proper military transport truck with bench seating. When it rained, American guards distributed waterproof ponchos. When the convoy stopped for meals, prisoners ate the same field rations as their captors. Think about this. While 27% of Allied prisoners died in German camps, only 4% of Germans died in American hands. The numbers don't lie. The guard sitting across from her was reading a letter from home, mechanically eating beans from the same ration she'd been given. His name tag read Johnson R., and he looked barely 25. "Not the best food," he said in careful German, "but it fills the belly." When an older German woman collapsed from exhaustion, an American medic started in 4 with the same care he'd show his own grandmother. Dehydration, he diagnosed. She needs a medical truck. Anna watched enemy hands work to save a German woman's life. This made no sense. Where was the hatred? Where was the revenge? That night around a campfire, she heard American soldiers sharing photos of wives and children, talking about jobs back home, missing their mother's cooking. They weren't monsters. They were just people. Young, tired, homesick people. One soldier, barely 18, offered her coffee. "It's bitter," he warned, "but it's hot." As she tasted American coffee for the first time, one thought hammered in her mind. These are not the demons we were told about. But nothing could prepare her for what she found at the prison camp. Nashville, Tennessee, materialized like a mirage from the humid southern heat. Anna pressed her face to the truck window, expecting machine gun towers and work gangs under whips. Instead, she saw German prisoners playing baseball against American guards. Their laughter carried across the compound. This wasn't a concentration camp. This looked like a military base. Processing was another shock. Instead of brutal interrogations, professional army nurses conducted medical exams. Instead of losing their belongings, prisoners got inventory sheets. Instead of becoming numbers, they kept their names. Anna Weber, she told the board sergeant, who typed her information onto an official form. "Medic, right? You like Lieutenant Collins. Runs the infirmary. Speaks good German, too." Barack 9 was clean, well-lit, spacious. Each woman had her own bed with real sheets, a locker for personal items, and access to bathrooms with hot water. She hadn't had a proper bath in months. Her bunkmate, Martha, looked healthy, well-fed, almost relaxed. "You're wondering if this is real." Martha smiled. "I wondered too. Kept waiting for the nightmare to start. But it doesn't, Anna. They actually treat us well here." That first night, lying on clean sheets with a real pillow, Anna stared at the ceiling, listening to the sounds of the camp. Guards talking quietly, someone playing harmonica, the gentle hum of generators. No screams, no violence, no torture chamber. This wasn't a prison. This was paradise behind barbed wire. But the real shock wasn't the comfort. It was what happened when she started working alongside her captors. Lieutenant Patricia Collins was everything German propaganda said American military women weren't. Professional, compassionate, genuinely interested in German medical expertise. "I need experienced medics," Collins told her through a translator. "We treat American soldiers, German POWs, and displaced civilians. Disease doesn't care about nationality." The work was voluntary, but came with privileges. Better food, medical journals, the chance to learn new techniques. More importantly, it gave her purpose. Working with American medical staff revealed something profound. They treated German medics as colleagues, not subordinates. When Anna suggested a different surgical technique, Dr. Richardson actually listened, tried it, and publicly credited her when it worked. Good thinking, Weber. We'll add that to standard protocol. Where'd you learn that? The respect was genuine. He valued her expertise, treated her as a professional equal despite her prisoner status. The reality was even more impossible. American nurses shared their knowledge freely, taught techniques they'd learned from other prisoner medics, treated German colleagues with warmth that went beyond professionalism. When Anna mentioned pediatric training, Captain Davis immediately put her in the children's ward. "Children are children," Davis explained simply. "They didn't start this war." The mess hall served 4 hot meals daily. Real eggs, fresh bread, vegetables, meat. American guards ate the same food at adjacent tables, sometimes sharing jokes with German prisoners who spoke English. While Anna gained weight in American captivity, her family starved in Berlin, surviving on tree bark and sawdust bread. She'd been taught Americans were barbarians. But barbarians don't provide dental care to enemies. They don't learn prisoners' names or offer recreational reading, but nothing, and I mean nothing, prepared her for what happened at Christmas, December 1945. The war had ended months ago, but repatriation was slow. Many prisoners would spend Christmas in captivity. Instead of ignoring the holiday, Americans embraced it as reconciliation. The Central Hall was decorated with evergreens and handmade ornaments. American and German carols played from radios. The mess hall prepared traditional German holiday foods. What the Americans did next was unprecedented in military history. The camp organized an adoption program where American families could sponsor German prisoners, sending care packages and letters. Anna was paired with the Thompson family from Memphis, Tennessee. A Methodist minister, his wife, 2 daughters. Their first letter, written in careful German, brought tears. "Dear Anna, we know you're far from home. We can't replace your family, but Christian love crosses all boundaries. We're praying for your safe return." The care package contained homemade cookies, warm socks, toiletries, vitamins, family photos, but it was the note from their 9-year-old daughter that broke her completely. "Dear German lady, Mama says you help sick people like she does. Thank you for helping people even when they're not German. I hope you see your mama soon. Love, Rebecca." That night, Anna wrote to her mother and bombed out Berlin. "I know this sounds impossible, but I must tell you the truth. The Americans treat us with unexpected kindness. I work in their hospital. An American family has adopted me for Christmas. I don't understand this war anymore, Mama. If these are our enemies, what does that make us?" That letter, like thousands of others, was read by military censors and sent to intelligence analysts. But for Anna, it was the beginning of a moral reckoning that would change her life. But the most devastating moment was still coming when she saw the photographs that changed everything. The camp library became Anna's sanctuary. American newspapers provided an uncensored view of the war's end and something else. Photographs from liberated concentration camps, Bergen-Belsen, Dachau, Auschwitz. The images were devastating. Skeletal bodies piled like cordwood. Survivors who looked like ghosts. American soldiers weeping at what they discovered. These camps bore German insignia, had been staffed by German personnel, operated with German efficiency. Many prisoners refused to believe the photos were real. Others wept, recognizing uniforms of units they'd known, sometimes faces of people they'd worked with. Anna studied the images with a medical professional's eye. These weren't propaganda. They were documentary evidence of industrial murder. Here's the devastating irony. Instead of using German knowledge of atrocities as justification for revenge, Americans organized educational programs to help prisoners understand what had been done while emphasizing individual responsibility and redemption. Abraham Goldstein, a Jewish-American psychiatrist, counseled traumatized German prisoners. Despite everything his people had suffered, he treated Germans with professional compassion. Collective guilt is poison, he told them. It paralyzes people. What matters is individual responsibility and the choice each person makes going forward. You can't undo what was done, but you can ensure it never happens again. Think about that. A Jewish doctor whose people were murdered by Germans, showing Germans the path to psychological recovery. But the most powerful part of this story isn't what happened in captivity. It's what happened when she went home. Spring 1946. After nearly a year in American captivity, repatriation finally came. The parting ceremonies were emotionally complex. American guards and German prisoners who'd worked together now faced permanent separation. Some exchanged addresses. Others shared wordless embraces. Lieutenant Collins gave Anna a leather medical journal. "You're a fine medic and good person. Hope we can work together again in a world at peace." The Thompson family sent a final care package with an invitation to visit Tennessee someday. The journey back was as civilized as everything else. Clean ships, adequate food, medical care. But as they approached Hamburg, Anna saw her homeland's devastation. Hamburg was a moonscape of rubble. The harbor, once bustling with merchant ships, now hosted only Allied military vessels. Her city was gone, replaced by an archaeological site where people picked through ruins. Her family's apartment building was a pile of bricks. She found her mother in a basement shelter with 12 other families surviving on American relief rations. The reunion was heartbreaking. Her mother, once plump and energetic, was gaunt and aged. Her father was missing. Her brother was in a Soviet prison camp. But even here, the contrast jarred her consciousness. American occupation forces distributed food, medicine, supplies to German civilians. Their policies were firm, but not vindictive. They were rebuilding, not just punishing. "They could let us starve," her mother whispered, sharing American beef stew. "After what we did, they could let us starve, but they feed us." I don't understand it. Neither did Anna, but she was beginning to understand something else. The kind of person she wanted to become. Sometimes paradise isn't a place. Sometimes it's just being treated like you matter by people who have every reason to hate you. The story of German women in American captivity remained largely untold, overshadowed by larger narratives.